Part 3.
Yes, so you're saying when you get stopped by police, you just become German, which what I'm hearing is it's kind of like this stoic, put together person.
Yeah,
who's under control.
Not getting sucked in emotionally.
Yeah, under control of himself in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if you could do that, stay in control of yourself. I'm curious what you think about this, like, because this is what I do, and I wonder how it would go for you. If a cop is approaching me, I typically would do something like, hey, how are you today? That's seriously what I do. Hey, how are you? And I almost wonder if that just immediately kind of de-escalates the situation. And it's not like I get stopped by cops all the time, but I can say right now, if we walked out here and some cops were coming across the street and they were kind of, well, actually, I can tell you a quick story. So I was going up the street. I lived in a neighborhood in Salt Lake City. I'm walking up the street. It's at night. It's like 9 o'clock at night, 9:30. My wife and I had just got our kids in bed, and I was going up the street to a friend's house to play Call of Duty or something like that. It was way back in the day. Halo
Said duty
or something.
again. Oh, that was the last podcast.
Duty. So I'm walking up the street, and it's night, and it's winter in Salt Lake, which means it's cold as shit, right? And as I'm walking, I see some dude running down the street in the middle of the street, and I'm on the sidewalk. And we're in Salt Lake, so this is a white dude, right? He's running down the street. And as he gets closer to me, I at first just thought, okay, someone's out running down the street at night. I like to run at night, and I don't mind the cold, so it wasn't out of the ordinary for me. But as he gets closer, I notice that he's in shorts, like the kind of shorts you would wear walking around all day, like just dress shorts, and like a t-shirt, and and not running shoes. And I remember thinking, that's kind of weird. And then as he gets even closer, I look over as he's running past me, and he's carrying a baseball bat. So it's cold, dude's in not in running attire, but like in a short sleeve shirt and shorts, and he's carrying a baseball bat in the night, in the dark. And I was like, hey, how's it going? Or whatever. And he just ran by. Okay, I go to my friend's house up the street. I'm sitting in there. Somebody else comes over, one of our friends, and when I go to the door to let him in to my friend's house...
That was a total white person thing to say hi to him.
Oh, really?
Hello, neighbor.
Yeah. Won't you be my neighbor? Totally. That's funny he said. I don't know. That's just who I am. So I'm standing in this house. I open the door to let my friend in, and when I do, I look across the street. There's like an intersection right there, and a kitty corner in the intersection. There's a bunch of cop cars with their lights on. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on over there? And my buddy who just came in was like, it sounds like somebody got beat up over there or something. And I was like, that's crazy. And then as I was going to shut the door, it clicked in my head like, whoa, I just saw a dude running down the street with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And now there's a bunch of cops over here, and somebody may have gotten beaten up. So what do I do? Keep in mind, I'm in a hoodie, and I walk out the door, and I'm walking across the street. I'm thinking, I got to go tell these cops that I saw this guy. Because I wonder if he's part of this story. And I'm walking across the street with my hoodie on, and my hands are in my pockets. Right? And as I'm approaching this cop, he's like a good 30, 40 yards in front of me. And he turns, and he sees me, and starts walking kind of aggressively toward me. We're far enough away that it's not time to have a conversation. Right? And then it hit me like, oh shit, my hands, I probably don't look good. So I take my hands out of my pocket, and his hand goes to his freaking gun. But I put my hands up, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know that I might have seen something that might have something to do with what's going on. He immediately calms down. And he's like, what's going on? What do you know? Like, he was still kind of aggressive. But as we got closer, and he stopped a good 10 feet away from me. Like, he was not going to get close to me. And then I told him my story, and we went on our way. So that's an example of an interaction where I've had with a cop where, I mean, I think it plays into a lot of what we're talking about. Like, I could tell that he was stressed, and I think I took just innately some action to alleviate his stress.
And the fact that you haven't been in many of those altercations could have, or you weren't totally stressed, that you were in a situation that you could see, oh, he's potentially stressed. Let me make sure that I don't buy into whatever's going on with him.
Doing, yeah.
To that, and that's a very, very important thing.
But you're saying the fact that I haven't had to do that.
It could go either way. I mean, that could have helped in that situation, that you weren't clouded by a bunch of past information,
right?
Type of situation.
And I will say, in that moment, walking out the door and down the street, just in my own perhaps cocky, arrogant self, I was like, well, fuck, I gotta go tell these guys what's going on and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then as I started approaching, I realized, whoa, actually, I'm kind of stepping into a situation that might be threatening. But I can only imagine what that's like for people who have stories like you do, where you get apprehended by police for no reason. Because that shit doesn't happen to me, right? Like, I got pulled over as a teenager, and I was a dick to some cops, and they were dicks to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I had one cop intentionally blow cigarette smoke into my mom's car once. Like, but it was I was never in a situation where I thought I was at risk.
Yeah.
Ever. So I can only imagine. I guess what I'm saying is, it's easy for me to say, I have the privilege to be able to say, I can stay calm in those situations, but probably because I don't feel threatened. And so for people who do feel threatened because of your own past experiences, because of the experiences of your community perhaps, I think it's a harder task to stay mindful and to stay calm. And I think that's why your idea to have these three things, like, hey, just, what's the first one again? Like, make eye contact, don't move quick or laterally, and listen to the cop and comply. I mean, I that's the biggest thing that I'm teaching my youngest boy now, and I plan to teach him, especially when he's a teenager. Just do what they're telling you.
And to go back to a visual, that's a cool visual. Is I would make the joke when I'm talking about no lateral movements that police, you'll never see a police officer at a salsa dancing class. and if you take polka music and you take mariachi music, they're very similar.
Sure.
Polka music is
up and down.
German,
right?
Up and down. And this is like just the lateral movement for that. So if you're German, to do it, and you might want to go into salsa dancing, like professional salsa dancing, which I don't like, for points. If they're dancing for points, you want them to dance for points.
Yeah.
As you're talking to them. And I'm not always like, I'm not gonna sit there and like, oh, I'm an upstanding citizen and everything like that. I just don't put that energy out there. Like,
No.
I'm fucking me.
You're who you are.
But
yeah.
I become German when I'm not even like in the coffee shop. I wasn't willing to become German in that situation. I was but when you're out and you're being approached, I want to go into a situation when I was being approached, and this was a situation that I overreacted and I thought it was bullshit, but I complied with my protocols. Police officers have a protocol. I think it's written by lawyers, but so you should have a protocol.
Whatever works for you. For you, it's to be German.
Yeah,
for someone else, it might be to be something else.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's so you go into the situation so you're not sucked out of your thing just because one thing happened. So I was at a Bible shop, a Bible study that I got sucked into, and they're actually talking about eunuchs. And I was so frustrated because the people at the Bible study were talking about how awesome eunuchs were. I'm like, oh, just because they're just so faithful to I mean, like, I don't think we're all about our genitals, but I think the fact that part of them was killed so they'd be
more faithful.
I just don't think that
I love that analogy.
I don't think it was necessarily like the right way to go. So
you don't have to betray part of who you are in order to de-escalate a situation with a cop.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so that was the part of the thing. So I was walking home, and then all of a sudden the police, they drove by me, 2 SUVs with several police officers in there. And they all of a sudden started looking at me, and they drove up, and I'm walking, but I don't look back because I don't want to like It was like, oh, why is this guy looking back? He's suspicious.
Yeah.
So I'm walking back, and the police officer, they start barking order. No, sorry. When they turned around, I go, I'm under their authority right now.
Right.
So I'm not going to. I'm just going to walk, but I'm not doing anything until they tell me to do it. Because I knew they're gonna come back. I became German at that point. I was like a happy Jew, not worried about Hitler and everything, and then all of a sudden I became fucking German as a motherfucker.
Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes here.
Yeah. So I'm walking, and they start barking orders at me. I don't fucking like anybody fucking barking orders at me.
Yeah, who does?
And so I'm sitting there, but I'm under their authority. But I'm fucking staring at them as they're barking fucking orders at me. Even fuck, because I'm like, that was my authentic self. That was like the match between the whole thing. And they tell me to put my hands up. And so I had my hands in my pocket, and I didn't even want to take my hands out of my pocket until they told me to take my hands out of my pocket.
That's smart.
And I went 2 steps. And I had never practiced this. I'm trying to not put my hand on my face, but I went right here and then went right here, so they could see like the movement. The guy comes over and he goes, for your safety and my safety, I wanna handcuff you. type set. And it was weird because there was probably about a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year gap in between that story that I told earlier when I thought I was getting cuffed till I got cuffed. And when I got cuffed, I felt so fucking free.
You felt free?
I'm the motherfucker they're scared of.
Oh yeah, that's such a good point.
And
bro.
I was free to fucking say whatever I fucking wanted.
Because you're not gonna hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, there's
they feel safe in that moment.
SUVs with cops with tons of fucking thing, and they're fucking scared of 150-pound fucking me.
Until you're.
I'm in the fucking driver's seat.
Right.
But I'm gonna be a more humble type situation. So even when I'm ripping on this cop, I'm saying this guy seems like a cool guy. But I'm ripping on him. Like I'm not even like I would not.
So they handcuffed you.
Yeah, they handcuffed me.
And
I
you
would,
felt
if there was
free
anybody else, if there was anybody else around because they don't necessarily know how to comply to the whole thing, I wouldn't have gone about it this way. But I was the only one there, and I know I can control, because I can see when police officers put their hands on their hips, they're getting more close to drawing a gun. For sure. I can sense that when I'm talking to them, and I can all of a sudden just like stop, and then just like go to the whole thing, and I try to get away from doing that at this point. But the fact of from that time, because I believe that adversity builds character, and I believe that adversity and the opposite of adversity is privilege, and I believe I'm part privileged. I had a situation where a police officer, I was going to pick up a Lyft passenger, and a police officer stops me because my registration was like far behind, and he's checking my insurance and everything, and he's running back and forth. And I told him, I was like, hey, do you want me to cancel this ride, or am I going to be able to go fast? He's running back and forth checking stuff
to make it work.
Yeah. Type of stuff. So. And there's an African American. I haven't seen him in a while. Like, it's kind of ruined my story. But there's an African American around here that's really big, really strong, has mental issues, and this guy will all of a sudden he'll be standing by you and he'll saw and go. But we're talking about a really fucking big dude. Okay. This guy triggers the fuck out of me.
So, you're just worried when you're around him sometimes.
Yeah, like you're saying. Well, because I ended up befriending him, but I'm like, when a lot of this stuff was going online and I saw the changes, I'm like, if this dude's still alive, the police can't be that bad.
That's a really good point.
I was like, they cannot be as
bad
as what I'm seeing online.
Dude, that's such a good point. And
if this guy is up.
Hold on, I'm gonna stop this.